Okay, I'm out on Ridge Loop. I would call this the southern end or part of the loop. It's the southern closest to Century Drive, Cascade Lakes Highway. The other section I would call the northern part of the loop, further away. And I just want to kind of take a look here, talk about trail character. Um, Even though the TMO, which is the trail management objective for this trail, which is a class 3 managed for mountain bikes trail, would look very similar to that of a trail in the Phil's network. But the reality is that it feels very, very different. It has a much more intimate feel to it. It has much more of a backcountry character to it. We're not crossing roads every 5 to 10 minutes. So it has more of a roadless backcountry feel to it. Vegetation is a little bit tighter. As we see, they haven't done a lot of veg management up in this area yet. That might come. I don't know. But, basically, this is what I would call a recovering forest. We know for sure that this was logged at one point in time. Although there are some big trees that remain, it's mostly young growth. It's lodgepole pines, and most of these are probably in the 30 to 40 year range, just guessing off the top of my head. But yeah, this has a very different feel to it. And so, one of the things we want to start looking at is where can we use the machine for greater efficiency in doing trail maintenance work, and where we would not want to use the machine for trail maintenance work. And I would argue that this is one of those locations we would not want to radically change the feel of this trail. Even though I probably could sneak in here and back out without it being overly noticeable. And that certainly would be an efficient way to build better rolling grade dips all the way down this. It might change the character, at least temporarily. It might change the character, and we really, we'd want to consider that before we did it. Certainly other locations, the trail is wider, the vegetation is wider. You're not really going to change that backcountry feel because it doesn't have a backcountry feel, say, all of Phil's Trail Network. We're looking at a drain right here. It shoots onto this log. And I want to talk a little bit about locating drains and, the fact that there are good places to locate drains, and then there's places where locating drains just doesn't make a lot of sense, and you're kind of, you're going to lose that battle. And I don't know if this log was down before or if it fell after, but if it was before, then, trying to get water to go underneath the log is probably not the best location. If it fell after, then it's understandable. We see a little bit of a fresh sediment load. You can see the whiteness in the sand. So we see a little bit of a fresh sediment load. That's probably from last year, because I think that's when all this work happened. And we're going to walk up. Hopefully you can hear me okay. The wind's starting to pick up a little bit. Might be a storm brewing. But yeah, want to walk up the trail. We see that the trail is cupped a little bit. The Forest Service sometimes uses the term incised, or below grade is another term that we use. And here I see a pin flag. Right here, this green pin flag. And I'm going to assume that is the location that someone decided to build a drain. And that is not the best place. We just can't effectively get water off underneath this vegetation. We're going to be fighting that battle pretty hard. So I would argue that a better location is going to be up in this area where it's completely free of vegetation. Going to be pretty easy to move this vegetation, or downfall, sorry, no vegetation, but pretty easy to move that downfall. Or here's another location right here that would be a good spot. We could dump water into there. So as we go on up the trail, we're going to start to see that this trail definitively needs water management. We've got a series of roots that are popping out here. And ironically, not ironically, we see that most traffic is going around it, avoiding those roots. Despite the fact that everybody complaining that, we don't have enough technical trails. When we go out and look on the land, people vote with their tires, and we oftentimes see tires avoiding little miniature, hardly anything technical sections. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. Same thing here. I can see that most of the mountain bike traffic is here, not popping over that route. And that's despite the fact that most people are riding 5-inch travel bikes these days. But that's very indicative of riding uphill versus downhill. Downhill, most people would just roll right over that and not even see it. But uphill, psychologically, sometimes it's hard to get the users to, stay on trail, and they will often avoid. And part of that too is just that, our trails serve a wide range of different uses. We've got beginner riders, we've got expert riders, and most of our trails sort of serve most of that, full range. So kind of flatten back out here. I know I'm going to get up to a section that's really bad erosion, so I'll stop there and pop a video when I get up to that section. But this doesn't look too bad here.